welcome to my third annual ABC Summer Fun and Games predictions video. Last year, this wasn't good as planned. However, there was one game show that was cancelled way back on April of 2022. But ABC decided to bring it back, and that is Match Game. They kept the same format and everything, but we have a different host, which we'll talk about it later. And did you know that this year, it marks the 50th anniversary of the original Family Feud on ABC since July 12, 1976. That's right, the year where Richard Dawson hosted the first Family Feud. Man, this is going to be a great year. If you want some more info about this, please let me know. Like last year, we'll predict and divide up to multiple parts. The first part, we'll talk about the returning games, along with the season recaps like Celebrity Family Feud, Jeopardy Masters, and onwards. This is part 1. Without further ado, it's time for the main event. Let's talk about game shows that I want to see return. Those games that I do want to see return are Celebrity Family Feud, the $100,000 Pyramid, Pressure Lock, Match Game, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, Jeopardy Masters, and Celebrity Wheel of Fortune. And that's about the returning games that I've been wanted to see. Now we'll talk about the recap from the previous season. There's no time to waste. Let's talk about our recap. Let's talk about our recap of one of the 6 game shows at a time. Let's start out with Jeopardy Masters Season 3. When this season has been announced, we knew Victoria Gross, Yogesh Raut, and James Holzhauer are returning. We'll get to that later. There's once again 2 tournaments, a Tournament of Champions and an Invitational Tournament. Let's talk about the 3 returning finalists. In Season 2, Victoria Gross, Yogesh Raut, and James Holzhauer has been returned for Season 3. They all have received invitations to the Season 3 Masters competition. However, Holzhauer declined his invitation and therefore dropped out of the Season 3 Masters competition. So, who is going to be the third player exactly? Well, we have finally got Brad Rutter. He'll take place of James Holzhauer for this season. Let's see who will win the tournament champions. Neelish Bingjamuri is the winner of this tournament. And who won the invitational tournament exactly? Matt Amonio. But who's going to be the 6th player as a wildcard contestant who were chosen by the producers? No one. The format of the players has been changed from 6 to 9 players. This means the co-runner-ups are also competing too. Just like how the finalists from Jeopardy Masters feels like Andrea Harmeyer and Isaac Hirsch. The co-runner-ups of Tournament Champions 2025. Whoa, hang on the phone. This contestant looks and sounds familiar. Back in 2022, there was one episode on the chase called Most Shocking Rose Ceremony Ever, where Isaac Hirsch, which he looks familiar to Buzzy Cohen, along with John and Allison competing against Buzzy Cohen for $140,000 and won the final chase. And he even pushed the chaser back from the start. It's the same freaking guy, made it into Masters. This gave me vibes of bringing back the chase again. And now, back to the show. Javier Zahir and Roger Craig are also joining since they're the co-runners-ups of Invitational Tournament. Now, let's talk about the format. You know how this works. First place gets 3 match points, second place gets 1 match point, and third place gets nothing. There's 4 tiebreakers in this in order to make things faster. Let's start off with the quarterfinals. Hang on a second, there's only 9 contestants other than 6. Well, there should be 6 knockout games just to make 2 masters compete for each of them. The highest match points you can get is 6 points now. Speaking of, 6 masters made it. Yogesh, Victoria, Roger, Juveria, Isaac, and Matt. Unfortunately, Brad Rutter didn't even make it along with Adriana and Neelish. I think Yogesh and Victoria were too much for Brad Rutter. Either way, they win $15,000 to walk away in the knockouts. Now, let's start the quarterfinals for real this time. So, the quarterfinalists are Yogesh, Victoria, Roger, Jabiria, Isaac, and Matamonio. Let's kick things off with 3 more games, shall we? But wait, there's more. Remember last season where at the end of every statistics where the match points and these tiebreaker points will reset to nothing? That's not the case anymore. There's another change. Starting this season, when the knockout statistics were debuted, those are now combined totals from the knockouts and the quarterfinals. This means you can't give up just yet. And after the quarterfinals, Victoria Gross, Yogesh Rao, Jabir Zahir, and Isaac Hirsch have made it. Unfortunately for Matamonio and Roger Craig, on top of that, Matt finished his final game with negative $400. He was eliminated from Final Jeopardy. They ended up getting 5th and 6th place. Roger gets $50,000 and Matamonio got $75,000 to finish it off. For some reason, they decreased the quarterfinal games from 6 to 3 for each master, which it should make things fair due to format changes. And now, let's move on to the semifinals. Okay, we're officially in the semifinals. Victoria, Yogesh, Jabiria, and Isaac are here. The rules are the same from the previous seasons. And of course, the scores from the knockouts and the semifinals are not carrying over and will reset. You happy now? After their 3 respective games, Victoria Gross, Yogesh Rao, and Subiria Zahir have made it into the finals. Isaac Hirsch didn't make it and got swept in the semifinals like Amy Schneider from last season. At least he scored better than Amy. Either way, he wins $100,000. Well, what can you say? If Isaac Hirsch can beat the Stunner 3 years ago, might as well he couldn't beat the Queen Victoria Gross. And now, it's time for the finale, which is the exciting part. At last, we're in the finals. Like last time, match points doesn't matter, only your scores. Let's break it all down. Our first game, Gross is the only contestant to earn points. 14,400 points for Gross, and the rest of them were 0. But wait, this isn't just zeros, they're different zeros. Yogesh Rao has 0, he lost it all on Final Jeopardy. Zahir, however, she finished Double Jeopardy with negative $1,000. She was eliminated from Final Jeopardy. That's a first for the finals of Jeopardy Masters. We thought that Victoria Gross might guarantee the very first 2-time champion on Jeopardy Masters. Well, anything can happen because we're moving on game 2. Well, we're on game 2 and you're not going to believe this. Here are the results. Victoria Gross has 22,000 points. Then Zahir only got 36,800 points, despite the first game had negative 1,000 points due to being eliminated in Final Jeopardy on game 1. This doesn't even affect their scoring, unlike the semifinal game from 2024, and Yogesh Rao has came back and won with just 41,601 points. Yup, even with that 14,400 point advantage, this wasn't enough. But hey, at least Yogesh Rao has finally won Jeopardy Masters as expected, and it gets even better. Victoria Gross, despite being in first, she gets $150,000, and Jabir Zahir gets $250,000, and Yogesh wins it all, earning $500,000. The Alex Trebek Trophy, $100,000 donation for a charity of their choosing, and every finalist who made it this far all have an invitation to the next Masters competition in 2026. But here's the thing. They have an option to decline the invitation and drop out of the next Masters competition. Because James Holzhauer have already declined his. Maybe he could come back in 2026? What will happen? Let's move on. Next, we'll talk about Celebrity Family Feud's 11th season. Let's talk about these changes and recaps about the previous season. The first thing I've noticed is that the intro is the same as the syndicated version, along with the new announcer. Speaking of the syndicated version, they moved their studio from the syndicated studio. Notice how the set looks different. The third change is that they somehow and somewhat officially removed the triple round skip. Remember that the previous seasons that it was possible to skip the triple round in just 3 rounds? Normally, it only happens sometimes where only one team earned at least 125 points while the other team has 0. Sadly, every single game we tried that and nothing. The last time seeing this was in Season 10. The fourth thing that added is Georgia Entertainment is officially working with Celebrity Family Feud starting in Season 11. And that was all for these changes, but for the regular season only. But we thought that's out of the way, think again. There's also the Christmas special known as Celebrity Family Feud Home for the Holidays, the third annual holiday episode. Those teams are the housemaid versus the housewives, to not only for Christmas specials, but to celebrate the upcoming release of the Housemaid premiere on December 19, 2025. If we count this one, this will be the second ABC Summer Fun and Games series to promote a film. The Housewives is coming soon this year. And that's about these teams to start off with. But there are some changes that we need to break it all down comparing to last season. So here it is. Normally, last season, there were at least 5 rounds to begin with. The first 3 single rounds, then it's a double round and a triple round. This applied on Season 9 and 10 respectively. But in Season 11 on the other hand, things were changed from this format to this. The first 3 rounds as expected are single point rounds. Then the 4th round is a triple round. You heard me, pal. Not a double point round, a triple point round. Then the 5th and final round is a quadruple point round. Yup, they changed it because probably due to getting consecutive sudden deaths too often yearly. And remember my last year's predictions based off Celebrity Family Feud's second holiday recap. When it comes to giving away money, normally after the first 2 rounds, Steve Harvey is going to give away $2,500. After the 3rd round, Sherry Shepherd is also giving away $2,500. And the 4th round, Shaquille O'Neal is giving away $5,000. But now as for the recent one that we have, normally they're going to give away the same amount. No. They're going all out to give away even more money. Instead of just Steve and the 2 team captains giving away money one by one, now Steve and the other 2 contestants are giving away money simultaneously. The next 2 contestants on each team and an uninvited guest. First off, Steve Harvey, Paul Feig, and Cynthia Bailey are giving away not $2,500 but $5,000 to a lucky audience member, number 82. Then it's the second holiday cash giveaway. This time, Steve, Sydney Sweeney, and Dorinda Medley are giving away $10,000 to a lucky audience member 120. And finally, Steve, Amanda Seyfried, and Eva Marcel are giving away $15,000. Number 54 earned the spot. Not before the red Christmas outfit giving away the red stocking to Steve. The first 2 envelopes were hidden from Steve. And yup, that's about it. Those are all the changes on Celebrity Family Feud. If you spot the differences, let's move on into another show. Hang on a second. Before we move on to the next game show that I want to see return, there was a controversy after the Charlie Kirk's assassination starting from September 17 to 2022. ABC aired reruns of Celebrity Family Feud in the 11:35 p.m. late night slot. The broadcast preempted Jimmy Kimmel Live during its suspension due to the controversy around Jimmy Kimmel's remarks following the assassination of Charlie Kirk. and Donald Trump has the right to suspend his show after a week. And then Jimmy Kimmel wanted to apologize after what happened when it comes to the Charlie Kirk jokes. Well, at least this was worth it, and thankfully they didn't actually need to pull the Millionaire season finale from the schedule. But we will talk about it later, alright? Anyways, let's move on. Then, it's Pressure Lock. I've already talked about the recap from the 6th season last year, but since there's the second part of the same season, I'm only going to recap the rest. The first episode of the second half was Salute to Service. This is one of the most unique Pressure Lock episodes out here. This episode is all about saluting the military, and yes, all contestants are now military just like in Veterans Day. And speaking of, we have yet another double overbid on Veterans Day. Man, is the Price is Right showcase doesn't like this holiday or something? Back to Pressure Lock. There's a second episode, but this one is dedicated to a square from Season 2 called Add a 1. Remember when I talked about it within the changes last year? And you guys remember Dio hitting Add a 1 by being the first one to hit $100,000 with this square? Well, she is the second person to do so. Unfortunately, unlike Dio, she got a whammy due to the past spins in the second round, and got whammied out just like in the Halloween special. Another heartbreaking finish. 3 episodes later, and then there's another special episode. If we thought that the I'm Not Crying, You're Crying and the Legend franchises are the only ones, there's a second redemption episode called Redemption 2 Insanity. Remember the purple lady from season 5? Well, she's back. This is exactly 2 seasons earlier, but with the big 5-0. And after the Taco Run episode, that's about it. Now, let's conclude with the whammy animations to wrap up before season 7 for real this time. There are only 3 whammies so far this second half of the season. One is the Rockstar whammy, as we've seen in the promo. Along with the same episode, there was the Olympic diving whammy, and finally, for the first time ever since season 5, or if you want to count about the chronological episode release of season 4 episode 9, when it comes to the 4th whammy animation, that title goes to Happy Retirement Whammy. The last time we have a 4th whammy animation was the Abraham Lincoln whammy. This is the first time we have a 4th whammy animation with Chris O'Hurd taking his role of the whammies. And that's about the entire season 6 of Pressure Lock. If you want to talk about the recap of the first half, here's the video in the description below. I suggest you to watch my first half recap of the season 6 of Pressure Lock. Oh, and by the way, somebody told me that this season is renewed. I think that's probably due to the casting crane. So I'm hoping season 7 is gonna happen someday. Alright, let's talk about Who Wants to Be a Millionaire season 4. Man, where do we even begin? This season not only has a great start, but it was also a fantastic finish. Why is that? Well, let's recap this season with some highlights. One of the first episodes of the season, for the first time ever since season 2, we finally got a 2-part episode, which means that when the alarms blare, means that the episode's time has been ran out for next week. And that was Matt Damon and Ken Jennings. And oh boy, let's start off with Matt Damon, known as the main antagonist of Millionaire, who is also known as Jimmy Kimmel's arch nemesis due to the known long-running humorous feud since 2005. Let's talk about it first. Since 2005, American actor Matt Damon and television host Jimmy Kimmel has been involved in a satirical public feud that has garnered nationwide coverage due to the pranks and gags associated with it, of which the majority takes place on Kimmel's show. Jimmy Kimmel Live, the feud began when Kimmel ended a season 3 episode of his show by saying, jokingly, "Apologies to Matt Damon, but we ran out of time." Despite Damon not being scheduled to be on the show at all, Damon and Kimmel have since kept up a running gag of the rivalry. of them enlisting the help of other celebrities to prank each other publicly. Yup, you heard that right. Due to the pranks, it started a rivalry. Let's go back to Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, shall we? You're not going to believe this. Matt Damon and Ken Jennings have already answered 13 correct answers in a row without using any of these lifelines until the $500,000 questions. And after making it this far, they won the $1 million grand prize with just 3 lifelines. Everything but the fun of friend. Speaking of the devil, they actually used a fun of friend off screen calling Brad Rutter by teasing him that they're about to win the million. Just like how John Carpenter did it, and that is the silliest $1 million winner ever made. There are some moments that they lost even by using 50-50 lifelines, and it happened before and also with the earliest loss possible as well. But in the season finale, however, there's another team that they're about to win the $1 million too, and that team goes to Oscar Nunez and Kate Flannery. After using every lifeline before the $1 million question, and unlike the Damon and Jennings game, this is where it gets really serious. There's $1 million on the line and there's no lifeline. What did you do? Risk it all or take the money? All they did is go for it. And the correct answer was Wanderer. This is based off the Galileo questions. And remember, in one of the reaction videos that it might not be possible to win the $1 million top prize twice this season. Well, that's not the case because Oscar and Kate also won the $1 million, but this time in a dramatic way, just like the similar myth of lightning never strikes the same place twice, referred as one game show season never wins the top prize twice, and of course, these myths were busted. And ladies and gentlemen, that's how you start off strong and finish with a happy ending. Let's move on with the next game. And last but not least, let's talk about Match Game. Yes, you heard me, the remake of Match Game. Well, the second one now from last year's, hosted by Martin Short. How did this show got remastered rather than the other shows that we've gotten? Well, let's find out what happened here with their first teaser. On April 30th, 2025, there's the last year's ABC Summer Fun and Games announcements that Bachelor in Paradise, Pressure Lock, Celebrity Family Feud, and Millionaire are returning this year. But there's one show for Martin Short that nobody expected to come back, and that is Match Game. Hang on, you might be asking, haven't this show got cancelled before since 2022? Well, yes, as of Millionaire since 4 years after being shelved back in 2020, this show came back. It wasn't cancelled, but it was shelved. But in Match Game, however, this show was cancelled before, but apparently it's back. If not counting Millionaire, this is the first ABC Summer Fun and Games series to be cancelled and brought back after a huge hiatus. Let's break it down back on April of 2022. On April 1st, 2022, the ABC Summer Fun and Games were nearly coming to an end at Car Sharks, Celebrity Dating Game, The Hustler, Match Game were all getting cancelled, while Pyramid, Celebrity Family Feud, and Pressure Luck are most likely to return at the time. I did miss watching these shows, and it's pretty sad that not only that, 3 of these game shows reboots were cancelled since The Gong Show back in 2018. However, on April 30th, 2025, something unexpected happened. Match Game is coming back on ABC, not CBS, not NBC, not Game Show Network, ABC. Plus, there's a tease on Facebook that Match Game is returning on ABC with the iconic theme, and this was found on Facebook and other social media. Speaking of, Match Game ABC has decided when the upcoming reboot was announced, they erased all of the Alec Baldwin Match Game clips and behind the scenes. You heard me right, they deleted all of the posts from 2016-2021 either because of the Alec Baldwin incident, and heck, even ABC on YouTube deleted all of the videos based off that era. This sounds kinda harsh, wasn't it? These videos, clips, and behind the scenes were never deleted. As soon as the second reboot they announced, they erased them all. They're all gone. During the time of May 2025, people who watch Match Game were curious about how their new format be like. Why did I say that? Well, At first glance, I thought there's going to be a newer revival with different rules, and heck, we haven't had a Star Wheel format since 1990. If you count as the Canadian version, 2010, the same year when BFDI came out or Steve Harvey's debut on Family Feud. However, the downside is not all of the remakes were good. Some of them were bad, like MG2, the match game from 1996. When it comes to the points format, the question set, and even bad jokes, and that didn't last long. They are worried that this reboot might happen in 2025, but time will tell. A few weeks later, we got to see a bit of the photo footage with Martin Short and the match game set. It seems to look like nearly identical to the 2016's version. And yes, this set will be recorded somewhere on Montreal, Quebec, other than New York. This marks the first ABC Summer Fun and Games series to film outside of the USA and also to film on Canada. At the time, Match Game 25 is nearly ready to air. Wow. At this point, this game show should now be known as Match Game 25, like I referred this on my last year's reaction videos. It actually has the same disambiguations at the time, such as Madden 25 from 2014 compared to Madden 25 from 2024. Another disambiguation was Lucky 13 from the Rugrats All Grown Up episode comparing to a game show of the same year. You can say the same as the final straw, the Cuphead song compared to the 2022 game show. Let's continue talking about the recent Match Game re-revival. On July 23rd, 2025, Match Game 25 has finally been released. The format and the rules are mostly expected and is exactly the same from the 2016's revival, which is also known for their 1973 through 1982 format with some changes. As expected, Martin Short will take on hosting duties for Match Game, which this marks the second ABC Summer Fun and Games series to change hosts. The first one was Pat Sajak from Celebrity Wheel of Fortune after 5 seasons, and the announcer has also changed. This is also the second series since Pressure Luck with Neil Ross as the announcer, and like I said, this is the first ABC Summer Fun and Games series to not film in the US. At this point, first time filming in Canada due to the set being different. In the second reboot, they removed the slight whistle sound every time they cuss. It is now replaced with the generic bleep censor sound. At this point, there were no murder match questions this season, but some questions aren't picture related. Hold on, he doesn't even have the tiny microphone like Alec Baldwin used to have. And there's no specials unlike last season like Match Gala, Shooting Blanks, and the 58th episode celebration. And heck, they didn't even had a holiday special like I said last year. And one more thing, Fremantle will only work on the second reboot of Match Game, originally back in 2016. Entertainment Brutes, Eldorado Pictures used to work on the first reboot. Overall, it is the same reboot but with different changes. Hopefully Alec Baldwin said that they're supposed to have the 121st episode celebration back in 2020. Can we finally attempt to do this in 2032? Let's find out if this show gets renewed. That's 73 down, only 38 episodes to go. And as a bonus, Celebrity Wheel of Fortune should also return. Let's also recap this season as well. Once again, starting in Season 6, Ryan Seacrest will take his role after Pat Sajak's true retirement. They did add some new categories such as the Tongue Twisters. At least they did have the $50,000 holiday giveaway, which this event can only occur by the end of the year. And if you win the $100,000 envelope, the stage will also display $100,000 with white background. How cool was that? Plus, this was our second time that a Christmas miracle happened since 2023 for winning the $100,000 prize during the holidays. However, we did have 2 $100,000 disappointments this season. And let's not forget the $100,000 pyramid to come back this summer. We haven't seen these new episodes since last spring. And I believe that's about it. We'll finally wrap up this part. So, what's your opinion with the recap of last season? Did you like or dislike my thoughts about the recap? Leave a response below. Thanks for watching and have a fantastic day. For part 2, we will talk about new games in the upcoming year. This is Update 2026, Touches 99, signing off, and we'll see you in part 2.